Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Moody Talk about anger. This is our third in the series. I chose anger this month because I think it's one of the most misunderstood emotions that we have. Maybe you were told when you were younger that you shouldn't get angry. You don't have a right to it, or you make people uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard people say, well, you're making so-and-so uncomfortable by being angry, or don't be an angry girl. So I wanted to talk more about it and about different skills that we can use to help ourselves when we're feeling so frustrated. The past 2 weeks, I went through body sensations, words we use to describe anger and their intensity, so you can understand exactly what you're feeling in the moment. Maybe sometimes you think, oh, I'm so irritated. Maybe irritated is lower on your intensity scale, so you know that there's not like a high intense feeling coming out of it. I think that's very important for us to understand. Also, like I said, body sensations. And then last week I talked about checking the facts. And I really think you can, if you haven't looked at that one, go back and watch it, because it helps to understand what emotion you are, if that emotion you are feeling is actually the one that fits the situation. So I talked about primary and secondary emotion, and you could switch your emotions, because maybe feeling angry is better than being afraid, that kind of thing. So definitely go back and check those out. Now, I usually do for these emotions, I usually do personal coping skills, what you can do for yourself in the situation. And so I thought with anger, there are so many times that we get angry in conversations. Get angry in situations, and we need to be effective in our interpersonal skills. So I chose anger, and I chose this interpersonal communication skill to maybe help you get through those difficult conversations. Okay, so DBT uses a lot of anagrams. So they use words to remember so that you can go through each moment. So each letter equals a word and that concept for that word. So let me pull this out. I'll pull out my handy worksheets. Okay. What is Dear Man? So Dear Man is what we'll be focusing on. Dear Man is an interpersonal effectiveness DBT skill you can use during difficult conversations. Okay. So we'll start off with D. Let's pick a situation. You're having an argument with a loved one, and you feel very strongly about what you want, but they are not feeling it. They don't want to do that. They don't, they're saying it's unnecessary or something, but you really feel as though you need that. Okay, so we're going to start with D. Describe the current situation as you see it in detail. So let's say you guys are going back and forth, and maybe taking a step back and saying, hey, let's figure this, what's happening here? So you describe the situation as you see it, and then allow them to describe the situation as they see it, so that you guys are on the same wavelength of what's happening here. Okay? Then we go to E. Express your feelings. Do not assume the other person knows how you feel. Very, very important. Especially when we do things like covering up our feelings, which, I do every day. And I'm sure others do it all the time. So actually saying how you feel, like what is the emotion you're feeling and what's the intensity of that feeling, so that the other person can understand how strongly you feel about what you're asking for. Okay? Then we'll go to A. Assert yourself for what you want, or saying no to someone. So I think a lot of people get wrapped up in not being able to say no, especially as an argument goes on and on and on. Stick to your guns and always be, assertive of what you need. Okay? Sometimes this can sound like the broken record, and you're saying again and again, but this is what I need. This is what I'm asking for. Okay? And then R, reinforce the other person positively while explaining what you need. So, let the other person know that, you understand their situation. You understand what they want or need. And that's valid. But you're going to continue to assert yourself in what you need, right? Okay, let's go to man. So here's the second part of it. Now, what you do before man, they always say stay. Stay man, I guess is what you would say. Stay mindful, okay? Stick to your point of view and focus on your goals, okay? So again, that broken record it can actually help a lot in this situation. Be mindful of exactly what you've been asking for and continue to stay mindful with that the entire time, okay? A. I know this is like something that a lot of people will say, really, that I have to kind of like, make myself look more confident than maybe I feel, right? But A is appear effective and competent. Like you're sticking to your guns. You know what you're asking for is what you need, and you're going to continue to feel strongly about it, and you're going to continue to ask for it. Okay. Then finally, N, negotiate. Be willing to give so that you can get what you need. Now, I know this kind of feels like we've been saying all along that you shouldn't, back down, and really isn't backing down at all. Assertive is when, you need to not say, well, I guess, maybe. No, this is the time when you negotiate, is when, you say, okay, well, why don't we think of a compromise here? Or you can ask the person, put it on them. What do you think is the best compromise in this situation? What can I give that will allow me to get what I need? What can you do to help to get what you need? So, man, if N doesn't work, you go straight back to M. Okay? Stay mindful. This is what you want. And at the end of all of this, right in the middle of this conversation, you may say, this is too much. I can't do this right now. We need to step back and we need to think about our needs. You can go, figure out what exactly this is happening here and what we can do to help each other and not scream at each other. Because if you go through man quite a few times, you're going to feel pretty, tired. Knocked out by doing this negotiation and, keeping mindful of what you need. So at the very end, I wrote, do not forget your own needs in this. A lot of times I think as we get tired of the conversation or where, we want to get somewhere else, we want to do something else, we tend to just back down and let go of what we really needed in that situation. So stay assertive. Always, go back and say, okay, it's time to work on this again. What do you have? What did you come up with that could be a help for us? So I know that it's a long list of things to do. And sometimes you may not even think about that in the moment. That's a very difficult thing. If you're getting angry, you are going to want to just get it all out there. But if you can step back for a moment and think through, okay, what do I need to do here to get what I need while the other person feels heard? I would suggest, maybe going through Dear Man a few times with, conversations that you've had in the past that you think, if you did use Dear Man, maybe that could have helped a little better. So I'm going to use it next time. It really is a great skill to have, and I've used it in some instances, and others I've gone off the deep end, and it happens. We're human. Absolutely, we're human. So it's not, you're not doing anything wrong. You're just improving. So I'm going to have the worksheets available on my website, mymoodymonster.com. And please, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down in the comments because I would love to hear more. Do you have questions? Do you want me to talk about other things that in regards to anger? I'd love to talk more about it with you guys. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next week for our final Moody Talk on anger. Bye.